hello, Bibi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. What about you?
Well, it's quite cool. Maybe
It's cool.
a bit cold here in the south of Spain, but fine.
I think if you compare to the Netherlands, you're still having a good
I
temperature.
don't think. Maybe same temperature.
We have to come in the summer. That is a big difference,
Yes,
obviously.
in summer it's huge, the difference.
Good. Welcome, and thank you for making some time in your busy schedule. I see some people are tuning in already, and today we're going to talk about the winery, about you, and about the wine, and of course about Grande Pagos España. And since we are doing the series together with them, so we decided that it would be good to give people a different view of Spain and the different regions and varieties that we have, grape varieties and wines, because a lot of people still think about Spain and think about Tempranillo and Rioja and that's it mostly. But today we're going to see that there's very different stories in Spain when it comes to winemaking. So thank you for making some time today.
It's a pleasure.
We're also going to drink a wine, one of your very special wines. They're all special, obviously, and you're the winemaker, so I don't want to make
you.
Very good. I don't want to make you any. I don't want to make any of your children different than the others, because obviously all wines are special. But this is the one we're going to drink tonight for everybody who's watching. I know some people were able to even buy some bottles, which is not easy because it's a well sought after wine, I would say. And it's also a wine where you don't have huge production of, if I'm correct.
No, it will be our top wine in terms of price, and it's quite popular, mostly Northern and Central Europe. Yeah. So we work with allocation with our customers, with our importers. Well, it's not so rare, but it's not easy to find it. Yeah. If you get a bottle, drink it.
If you see it, just buy it, and don't think, oh, I'll come back next week and I'll buy the other one, because then it will be gone probably.
At least we have one for each today.
That's very good. Yeah, we are happy. We are the happy people, and I know some people. I know two people even that have each a bottle. So I think now some wineries are sold out. So it's very amazing. It's an amazing story. We have a little bit less time today, so I just want to jump straight into who you are.
I'm so sorry because I have a trip, so I'm so sorry. But we could, if we don't have time, we could do it all the day. But well, let's do it.
I'm happy to do another interview already with you. So I mean, without having to finish this one, I can tell you I will be happy to join you on another live. So we can always do that. But actually, I saw yesterday you guys had a live. Your colleague had one as well. So you're very busy at the moment.
Manager, I was asked to do this, but I asked him to help me because it's too much. 2
nights in a row, it's a bit too much, maybe.
Yeah.
You also have the children at home and obviously the family, so you cannot every night do this, right?
Now they are out, and as soon as they come back, you will realize. But now I'm alone, luckily, with the rights.
It's okay. It's alive and things happen. I mean, I've had strange things happen in these live interviews. So, I mean, we don't get distracted by that if that's the case. Good. But some people already have a bottle. I would encourage them to open it, because you opened it, I opened it. I already have it in the glass, and we're going to talk about it, but only later. So if they want to drink, don't wait for us, because that would be a shame, I would say. And let's start with a quick introduction about yourself, and then we talk about the winery.
Let me drink for a bit. Well, I'm from Seville. I studied chemistry, and I started working, making like almost 20 years now. And first vintage was in Rioja Alavesa. It was magical because I didn't know anything about wine, and it was amazing. I really fall in love with the business. So I keep going. I went to South America, to Chile, when I met my husband, and he's also a winemaker. So we spent some years there, and some others in Catalonia. And as I'm from Seville, we moved here like 15 years ago to Andalusia, to Ronda. It's a very small region. It was very well known since Romans, but after Phylloxera it stopped the winemaking in the area, and it's been in the 80s and 90s with some producers has started again to grow vines. And the owner, the founder of the winery where I'm working was one of the pioneers. So since 1999, Cortijo Los Aguilares is one of the most popular and well-recognized wineries in the area. I joined them in
just 20 years, a little bit over 20 years now.
Yeah, I joined them in 2007 as winemaker and manager, and since then I'm trying to make
you with
wine
Cortijo Los Aguilares.
Yeah.
Aguilares. I have to say it right. I'm still not Spanish, so I will always have problems with the pronunciation. But it's a beautiful name, and it's a beautiful career that you had until now. And you're in the family, like you said. Your husband is also a winemaker, so wine is everywhere. I would say
always at home, at holidays. When we travel, we visit wineries. My kids both are quite used to it, so. Some of our best friends are also in the business. So we have wine everywhere and every day almost, but it's a great way of living.
I'm envious. So we also have a lot of wine, but I'm still not in the vineyards every day. I mean, we have wine in the Netherlands. I recently, last weekend, we reviewed and I drank a Dutch sparkling wine, which was very good. So, but I mean, Holland still has, well, obviously we don't have the history of winemaking, but we're catching up. So maybe at some point we will also be on a very different place in the States. The climate is changing all the time anyway.
Well, I was going to tell you, if the climate continues its way, maybe in the future, some years, I will join you.
We will have champagne in the Netherlands for sure. Yeah, we'll have to wait a little bit, but we will get there. So then you joined Cortijo Los Aguilares, and what made you choose this project?
Well, it was chance. It was my husband who founded a job in the area, and he's from Chile. So for me, it was an opportunity to get closer to my family. Yeah. And so months later, I started to work. There's not many wineries, so I thought maybe it was a moment to change my career. But we wanted to stay together, and he founded a job in the area. So I thought it was a good idea to move to the south of Spain. Yep. The weather is fantastic, and my family was close. And in some months, I got the job. At the beginning, I was just in the commercial part of the winery, and some months later, I started as the manager and winemaker. So it's been like a dream.
But you were very early stage involved in the project in this case.
Yeah.
So you were also, you can say you shaped. Everybody shapes it who works there, so everybody has a part in it, but you're very much a big part of the identity that the winery has today as well, especially if a winemaker.
Well, it's been a long way. It wasn't all of a sudden. I started, as I told you, in the commercial area, selling the wines. They used to have a consultor that used to help making the wine, but at the beginning the project was very small. So they needed somebody to be there every day, but it wasn't easy to find somebody that would like to come to Ronda. Yep. So it was like something that really worked out. And
it came together.
Yeah, and I feel really lucky because it's like a dream. I have worked in many traditional regions of Spain, like Rioja or Priorat, with a huge history and tradition. And on the other hand, I have worked also in South America, for example, which is the new world with like no limits and this could
no
be
rules.
Yeah, well, they do, but you feel more freedom.
Artistic freedom.
Yeah. And here is like an in between because we have quite a lot of restrictions.
You're still not in France, so it's still not like in France or Germany.
Well, in Málaga, the DO is Málaga, Sierras de Málaga, and is one of the eldest in Spain, but all the rules were made for the sweet wines, the typical Málaga wines.
Yeah.
So there was no restriction on still wines, and it was...
Yeah, because nobody was really making them, so there was no interest.
So it was, some producers started, and there was no rules on it. So it's like new world, but in Europe, so it's quite funny, and there are many people from all over the world producing wine here. We are all very small projects and all very good friends. So it's not a big area. We are all friends, and we do all completely different wines. So for a wine lover, Ronda is quite exciting because you come to a very nice town. It's one of the nicest of Andalusia, with amazing landscape, fantastic
architecture, history.
Architecture, yes, it's amazing. And also, if you love wine, you could spend days tasting different wines. And we have a German guy, a guy from Austria, people from Switzerland, and they all have brought their grapes. So we have grapes from all over the world. It's quite funny. It's different. We don't have that identity given by a grape. Maybe we will in the future, and it will be Petit Verdot, the one we are trying.
You think that will be your signature variety someday?
Yeah, for sure. It is
an interesting
actually
statement.
Today, and it will be in the future. It's fantastic. It works great. It behaves amazing. We can work it 100% Petit Verdot, and which is
but also great in the
blend.
blends with the local varieties.
Yeah, and we also make blends, but it's a region that works great with this grape because it has a very long cycle. It's the last we harvest in the edge of the winter, because here summer is hot, but we have a lot of rain.
I heard you have snow sometimes when you harvest.
Yeah, we do. Actually, I remember my first vintage, 2007, the day after we harvested the Petit Verdot, it snowed. So imagine in the edge of the winter, it's quite risky because it's a grape you have to leave it to ripe properly. So it needs a long time to get ripe. Yep. But we have, I think, the right weather to get it. And if you get it, it's a challenge. But if you get it, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
And it behaves great. So I think it's becoming more and more popular in Spain, because it has a very high level of acidity, natural acidity, a long cycle, as I have told you, not so much alcohol, quite high, powerful. So
because this one is 14%, correct? Yeah, 14. Yeah. So I was a bit amazed about that, but we will talk a little bit about that later, because people obviously have an image about south of Spain and about the type of wine and style of wine. And then without having looked at the label and knowing the percentage, obviously I tasted it, and I have to say I was a little bit, I was informed, obviously. So I read, and I know that what the reviews are and what you guys do. So I know it was not what people would think it would be, like heavy and bold, fruity stuff like that. But it really surprised me. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But alcohol, if we talk about alcohol, that was also a surprise to me, to be honest. The 14%.
Well, it's not so high if you compare with other regions in Spain. So it's great. As I told you, this
easy drinking.
Yeah, and the acidity is huge. So even we have vintages. We have vintages with a higher level of alcohol. It depends on the weather. It depends on the vintage, how hot is the summer. But it's a grape that really get balanced, this alcohol, thanks to the acidity. At the end, you get something. It's not so alcoholic. The sensation, so it's great. And the character is very balsamic, very mineral. So it's not this ultra ripe fruit.
No, totally not.
Actually, we are in the very south of Spain, but on the hills. So when people think on Andalusia, they think on olive trees and a very dry landscape, but we have amazing forests.
Flora, fauna.
Our local tree is a pine tree. It's called Pinsapo. It's a natural park, which is a very nice and huge forest, and it's mainly this kind of pine tree. So when you come here, you get amazed because we are in the south of Spain, but the weather here is much cooler. So we have
people maybe expect a desert, but it's for sure not. No. It's really green and a lot of
the desert flora. Is close. Actually, when you go to Marbella, which is less than 50 kilometers far, you in 10 kilometers by the road, you see Africa, you see the reef, the mountains. So we are really close to the desert.
Yeah. You're really in a micro climate, we would say.
Thanks to that and the altitudes, why we can grow grapes and produce those kind of wines.
Yeah, because we will talk about that when we talk about why the wine tastes like it tastes. But stepping back a little bit first about the varieties in the wines that you have, because we already sort of revealed that you have French varieties, but you also still have Spanish varieties. Can you, in short, explain what the portfolio looks like at the moment that you have?
We, as you have just told, we work with different kind of grapes, a big range of grapes. We have French, Spanish, and at the beginning, the owner was really open-minded, and he was really fan of French wines. He died last year, the founder, and he was from the north of Spain, but he has studied in Switzerland, in France for years, so he was a really huge fan of those wines. So actually we grow Pinot Noir. Our most popular brand is a Pinot Noir in Andalusia, which is quite bizarre, and it's very popular, but I wouldn't produce or grow one more plant because it's quite difficult to work with. The behavior of this grape is not so easy to work as the Petit Verdot. But actually,
that was strange, because you have a Petit Verdot and you have a Pinot Noir, which are two quite very different grapes.
Opposite, yeah.
So the choice for bringing those together, that was because of the love of the French wines and grapes of the owner, more or less.
But actually, the Pinot is our most popular brand, and is what has made us maybe a bit famous. But it's a challenge every year. It's quite difficult to work with, and at the end we get something really nice, drinkable. We all love Burgundy wines. We don't try to imitate their style.
No.
Just respect the variety in our unique terroir, and the result is quite different from others. So I think it's not so expensive.
No.
So it's one of our best values and the top in sales. But we just have 3 hectares from the beginning. Some people has asked us why don't we grow more? For sure, under my responsibility, I wouldn't grow one more single plant of Pinot Noir in the area. But I have.
It brings you too much headaches.
Yeah, I don't know. It's quite difficult, and it's horrible to work.
But I think your Petit Verdot has really taken over also in your mindset for the future.
Actually, I have already made 7 years ago a new plantation and with some Spanish grapes to work with that we didn't used to work with, like Garnacha or Graciano, that are excited with the result because they are working great in the area.
2014,
it's when we started. So it's been in 2017, the first vintage, and just we don't have any brand in the market in this moment. We are just
watching development of the grape of the wines.
So white that we will start to work next year, and more Petit Verdot, because as I have told you, the Petit Verdot is the one that works better. So I'm really proud of it, and I think, as I have told you, it's going to be our main variety when people talk about our region, if we keep going in some decades, because it's working great.
It's interesting because Petit Verdot, obviously, most people think south of France, obviously, because this is where you get the most well-known examples. But Portugal also would come to mind. So Portugal is obviously a little bit closer to you, but also very different because it's on the other side. So you have the more Atlantic influences, which you also have, but you also have Mediterranean. But in Portugal, they already have been working with the Petit Verdot for also a longer time.
Yeah, and also South America, Argentina, for example, the area of Mendoza is quite similar to our region, very hot summer, but also the altitude gives freshness and in the nights and cold winters. And they are also working there with Petit Verdot. I think it's working great, and for the future, and we were talking about how the weather is changing. I think it's going to be quite important in warm climates like ours.
Yeah, you have 6 wines, if I see correctly, at the moment. 6 different ones, and there is 2 single variety, the Petit Verdot and the Pinot Noir.
Yeah, well, we do 200% Petit Verdot. Both are called Tadeo. We age one in a clay amphor. So we have the the Tadeo, which is the one we are drinking now, 100% Petit Verdot, aging in oak. It's like our regular and the top wine. And then we produce a very, very limited production out of 2 clay amphors, and it is called Tadeo Tinaja. Tinaja is the word for amphor in Andalusia, like the wine uses in Montilla, for example, for aging the Fino in Montilla. So it's Tadeo Tinaja, and then the Pinot Noir. We also
and the other ones are the other ones are blends, and you have one rosé wine as well.
We do a rosé, quite popular, but also very limited production out of mainly Tempranillo, but it's a blend. It's not 100% Tempranillo. We also produce a young wine, which is also mostly Tempranillo with other varieties. And then our main brand in terms of production, that will be Pago el Espino, which is a blend with almost 70% Petit Verdot. But it has been softened with other varieties like Tempranillo, Syrah, Garnacha, that gives much more fruitness to the blend.
Would you say that is the one that you would drink more younger, and the other one, obviously, it can also, this is perfect to drink. No, don't get me wrong, but this is also really nice to age.
Yeah.
So if you compare the two,
both behaves great in the bottle. The Pago el Espino is like the Tadeo. The aging is almost 15 months in French oak, so the behavior will be the same. But I think it's drinkable and like sooner if you compare with the Tadeo.
Yeah.
Because this one 100% Petit Verdot needs a bit more longer in bottle to get like brown and drinkable. And actually, this one has just get out in the market.
Because you were still publishing the 2017 today, but the 18 is now just out, right?
Yeah, we have just started to sell this vintage, and the Pago el Espino we started at the beginning of 2021. So it's a
little bit less than a year difference.
And it's like less time in bottle to be drinkable.
Yeah. So about the wine we're already drinking it today. So let's jump into that. You already explained it's the Tadeo 2018. So this one is 100% Petit Verdot. Yeah. And this is the one with the longer aging. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of the winemaking and in general maybe, but also for this in particular, for this wine?
Well, to start with the vintage, it was the first one. 2018 was perfect. We had this huge storm in winter, snow, a lot of rain, so the soil was full of water. So those vintages with so much water are those that are great, because summer is always hot. But what
you need the water too.
A lot of water in the soil to let the plant work easily during the summer. Yeah. And then 2018 summer wasn't too hot, was quite soft, so the behavior was amazing.
So there was like a very stable growth ripening.
I've been working for 15 years in the winery, and the 18 vintage was the best one, no doubt. It was amazing. So the young wine was incredible. The rosé was gone like this. The Pinot Noir got, I think it was the third time, the golden medal in an international challenge of wine made out of Pinot Noir.
We almost forgot that, but I didn't want to start with it. But you, with the Pinot Noir, you're correct. In 2010 or 11, you won the first time the gold medal at the blind tasting for Pinot Noirs.
Yes, actually we are part of this group of wineries, Grandes Pagos, thanks to this, because we won it in 2009 with the 8 vintage for the first time. It's a blind tasting made that takes place in Sierre in Switzerland, in the Valais Valley. It was a surprise for us because we didn't expect for sure to win this. We just expected to be between the first 500 wines.
But you compete with Burgundy, but also Oregon. Yeah, you compete with the whole world, basically.
It was unbelievable. We couldn't even understand that what was happening. And then the 2009 was a very difficult vintage, but then 10 was amazing again. So 2011 we won with the 2010 vintage the second medal. For many years, well, the pressure was so high that we didn't send samples to the challenge, but in 2018 it was so perfect that
You wanted to go again.
Yes, I told my boss, if we don't win this year, we will never win again.
Yeah, so now I have to test it again.
we won again. It was a surprise. What makes for us the most important thing is it's a blind tasting, because if you will see a wine from Andalusia made out of Pinot Noir, you will never give a good rate to this wine, but it's a blind tasting. And I think I have worked in South America, and everywhere where I have worked with Pinot Noir, they try to imitate what we all love, that is Burgundy style. But if you are not in Burgundy, at the end, it's
which never really works, because there is a reason why it's in Burgundy like this.
And I think the key is that understanding that we are not in Burgundy, we don't try to imitate that style, and we just try to make something nice out of the terroir we have in Andalusia. And at the end, it's a very nice wine, clearly a Pinot, completely different to others. And as there was no medal for the most rare or bizarre Pinot, we were given the golden medal. So
you're really working on the quality and just on the quality, not on uniqueness. Actually,
it was really important because 17 was really tough and difficult vintage, and we didn't produce the Pinot Noir. We didn't, actually the wine was made, but when we had to make the decision to bottle, we decided not to bottle, because it didn't have any mistake in terms of volatile acidity or something like that. It was a bit unbalanced, because the vintage was really hard. So, and it was the first time we decided not to bottle the wine, because then...
I mean, it's not an easy decision. You work whole year for the wine.
Actually, I was really frightened, because it was the first time I gave this suggestion to my boss, but at the end we thought it was a good decision. But 2018 was a huge pressure, because it was difficult to keep 2 years without the wine. So we made it. It was amazing, and it was nothing but respect what we got from the field. That was a huge quality grapes of Pinot Noir. So try not to do something wrong and just respect them. And at the end, we got the medal for the third time, and it was amazing.
It's an amazing story, and we come back to the story, and then we will talk about the Petit Verdot still. But we come back to the story that it's so surprising that you so far down south managed to be so elegant, smooth with the wines, and well balanced. That I taste in this Petit Verdot. I have not tasted the Pinot Noir. We will at some point get there, but I can only imagine if you can do this with the Petit Verdot, then it's a different story. But it's amazing that you get the recognition, especially if it's a blind tasting.
But I say I don't do it on my own. We are a team, and all of us, we have a huge and very important part on the success of the Pinot, and also in the Petit Verdot, so in all the wines.
I agree. I mean, it's teamwork in the end. About this one, so for the people that are drinking or the people that are not drinking, what is so typical about the taste of your Tadeo? Well,
Tadeo for me is the one, when I had to choose one wine to send to you, I thought it was the one that represents and shows better how is our terroir.
I'm happy you made the choice. You could have said, okay, I send him the Pinot Noir because this is what won the medal with, but it's better that you do this, to be honest.
No, I prefer to when it's somebody that really understands about wine to talk with the Petit Verdot on the hands, because on the glass, because it's where our terroir expresses better.
And it's your future as well.
Yeah, it is, and I hope it will be. Here, well, you have the character of all our wines is mostly the character of the state is mostly mineral and balsamic notes in all the wines. Pinot Noir, Pablo Espino, the Young, the Rosé. But in this case, this sensation is huge, because it's also like what I will say that will define better the Petit Verdot. It's this mineral, some graphite, wet stone.
But it's a bit atypical, I would say, because this is not, I hate to say it, because can you say a typical wine or grape, but if you compare this to a Petit Verdot from the south of France, obviously you get a very different wine, which is good, but I like this very much. I mean, one could argue that it's not how it should be, but there is no rule. for what it is. I just judge on quality, and I judge on how it works together. And the balance is really great. And that's, for me, the most important part of a good wine. I mean,
it's not easy. It's not easy to get this balance. Actually, this grape behaves great in the countryside. I mean, in the vineyard. It's quite easy to work with in the vineyard.
And it gets difficult when you put it in the cellar.
You have to be very careful, and that's the challenge too, because the cluster is really small. The grapes are really small, and they have like a lot of skin if you compare with the juice you get. So at the end, you get a juice with a huge concentration, a lot of color, a lot of structure, and for a winemaker, it's quite easy to try to extract a lot to make something huge out of this. And the challenge with this variety is to get something balanced or delicate or elegant. And
you really have to watch it very carefully.
Yeah, and that's I think that's what makes it not so easy to make this kind of wine, and it's why I try to make our best in
totally
the winemaking
agree.
area.
I'm happy I opened the bottle today. I'm surely going to enjoy it over the weekend, so we're not done here yet. But
I hope so.
I'm very happy. It's a very, very, very good wine. We have 10 minutes left, a little bit less. So what we're going to talk about. I have a question. First of all, the people that are watching, if you have a question, somebody who tasted your wines a few days ago. So that's even very, very, very fresh. I know, I don't know if she's watching, but Inma visited you, I think, some weeks or months ago. She's from Holland, but she is Spanish, and she also posted a great series with stories and release, because visiting you guys at the winery is also a very nice experience.
Yeah, it is.
I've learned. But I got a question for you from Tony, who we had 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
Mr. President.
And he was very, 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 very impressed by you. So it's very nice. I mean, you know him better than I do, but I know him as a very good winemaker. And Mr. Bobal, well, I should not say that anymore, because now I found out he's also Mr. Mesturguera. He's not only Mr. Bobal anymore.
Yeah.
But he was very, very impressed by you as a winemaker. And he said, Niels, if you ask Bibi a question, ask her, if she had to choose a different region in Spain to make her wines, which region would you pick? Because you're not allowed to say, I will stay here in Andalusia.
Well, I hope I will stay here. Now my family is here.
Of course.
Really happy.
Hypothetically speaking.
Well, I really have friends all over Spain, and I love their wines, and I would love to work with them in many regions. But maybe there is one that a piece of my heart was left there, because I spent very amazing years, and it was Priorat. I worked almost 5 years in Priorat when I was starting. It's a very tough and difficult region in terms of
rough, wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's the grape, the weather, the landscape is quite extreme. But when you really get on it, it's an amazing experience, and I really enjoy that. So
it's funny, now you're deep south, you would go up north.
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care to come back, but all over Spain there, well, Galicia is fantastic, and I have very good friends at Bierzo. There are many regions, and in Gredos, I have a very good friend also in La Sierra de Gredos, making fantastic garnacha. So I think we are lucky, because in our country there are many regions that are amazing to produce wines, and actually there are people doing and
you know, in our last episodes, which is after Christmas, because we're going to have a break, but our last episode is with Castilla, Jose Ferrer. So, well, we are going to follow a little bit your trail. We're already going to do, and we're going to go for the Garnacha. But there is really. I love
Garnacha. Actually I have grown like 4 hectares of Garnacha, and I'm really happy with the result. And I think it's going to work great here. And it's from, well, since I was in Priorat that I really had the chance to work with Garnacha and all Cariñenas there, and I fall in love. And now it's quite fashionable, but I'm talking you about many years ago, that it wasn't so cool grape, but I really fall in love with this grape. Yeah.
Very good. Nice choice. I have a question from the audience. Bodega Mostegillo is watching. Probably it's Tony himself, or not. We don't know. Any variety that you really like to produce and make wines, and which one? So that would be a question for one that you don't make. Yeah, the ones that you like, we already discovered. Petit Verdot is high on the list, but
I have just started with white Garnacha, and I'm really excited because I have made whites, but it was many years ago, and almost in the last 15 years I have just made red and some rosé. So I'm really excited with the experience. This year is going to be the first one. We have just making some training, and I think it's going to be really
I'm very curious.
It's working great. So
I was missing the white wine in your portfolio. So you be like Tony. It's Tony because he just said yes, he said. So you be like him, and then after you master the Bobal, and then you go for the Merceguera. For you, it's the white Garnacha.
His Merceguera it's unbelievable. It's great. It's amazing. I love this wine.
I totally agree. Yeah. So then I have a question for the people watching that are drinking the wine. If you're watching and you're drinking, tell us what you think about it. So put it in the chat, or if you have a question about it, you can also do it. Then I will take the last minutes to ask you for next week, which is the last episode before the Christmas break. So it's the after that we only have one, so episode 5, and then after Christmas we do 6. But 5 is with Pago de Bibi García. So also a very amazing project. Adolfo
Hornos. Yeah.
So what would you ask about him, or himself, or the winery, or the region, or anything you can ask, basically.
Well, I think they have almost the same problem that we do with the climate change. So I will ask him what are they doing, or what are they planning to do in recently, or for the next future, to fight towards the climate change. What are the tools, or
how are they going to battle it?
They're making something different in the vineyard to fight towards the climate change.
Yeah, well, that's very good. I think they already experimented with a lot of different varieties from the start. So obviously, I think there are quite some parallels between the owner of the bodega and the owner that founded yours, because also from a passion, from French wines, and really building from nothing, more or less.
Yeah.
A successful winery. So I see a lot of parallels. I don't know if you agree with me, but
they just met twice, I think. But when you talk with Adolfo, and we have very similar projects, well, quite different in many factors, but in terms of the family that own the state, and so it's quite similar, the kind of company and how it works, and
We're going to drink the Viognier, so also a French variety, but a very different one. That's nice, huh?
I love it.
Very good, yeah. So somebody watching, it's amazing wine, enjoying the evening. So I think it's a great compliment. I think even after we finish here now, then that bottle will be for sure for the rest of the evening, ensure a great night, because it's easy drinking wine, but it has a really great structure body, and it doesn't get tired. It really stays fresh. There's a lot of freshness in there. But the people can watch the review. We will post it later. So then if they if they are able to find one, then they know which one.
Well, actually, we have it available on the website, and we sell wine all over Europe. But
so they could go to the website and then order directly with you.
But we have also the directions or addresses of all our importers, that maybe makes easier to find the wine, and we sell mostly in all the countries in Europe. So I think there's so many wine, but there's many places to find it.
I agree, but I really I'm impressed. So for everybody, again, we're rounding up, and this is the wine of the night, Tadeo 2018, Petit Verdot 100%, and it was a great vintage we already discovered. There was much more to talk about, also about the 900 meters altitude where you are at and how that affects your wine and your grapes. But let's make the promise that we do a second part, and then we will talk about that more.
I hope next time together. Come
yeah.
Ronda.
Oh, that would be even
you
better.
I
totally agree. That would be the best option. But I would like to thank you very much for your time.
It's been a pleasure, Niels. Thank you very much.
And I think everybody who watched, if you are not following yet Instagram, be sure to follow Grandes Pagos España, but also for sure Cortijo Los Aguilares. And stay tuned about the great projects, because Garracha Blanca, there is something new coming up. So very nice things coming. And I don't know if you have any last words, but then I made a promise to you. We stick to the time. So as much as I would love to stay, we're not going to do it.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to chat with you and to drink. This is my third glass of wine. I don't usually have it at home. Actually, I have taken one from the winery because
if you start doing that, you don't have anything to sell.
No, the thing is, we try not to drink our wines at home. We drink a lot of wine, but from friends, and also so tonight
you learn from others as well.
But we have to go on a trip now, so thank you for making the effort of making shorter the chat.
No problem.
I hope you will have one day the chance to visit us. The group of wineries is amazing. The group of wineries that are part of members of Grandes Pagos España. And if you come to Andalucía, it will be a real pleasure to meet you in Ronda, to show you the winery and the region. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
I would be very pleased to, and everybody who's watching, the invitation stands for everybody, as you do welcome guests from all over the world. So if they are in the area, and make an appointment and go and try the wines. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, Bibi.
Cheers. Enjoy the wine.
We will talk later.
Thank you for the chance, and have a nice weekend.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye.